What's up, everybody? This is the Sports League podcast, back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got the co-host, Amanda. Amanda, lots to talk about this week for our Week 14 season preview.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these teams, these are some must-win games to keep their playoff hopes alive. So I expect to see a lot of scrappy matchups this week.
Yeah, and it started out with the 2-10 Patriots at the 7-5 Steelers on Thursday night. Bailey Zappi versus Mitch Trubisky. Mac Jones was benched. Kenny Pickett out with a high ankle sprain. Going into this, we pretty much said first team to 10 points wins, right? We weren't expecting a lot. Patriots coming off getting shut out by the Chargers. So we expected the Steelers defense to keep New England in check and score just enough with Trubisky in that offense. But shockingly, the Patriots put up 21 first half points. They lead 21-3, and Zappy with three first half touchdowns. How surprised were you by that?
I mean, I have never seen Bailey Zappi look that good. I mean, we
Yeah.
have him, 80% completion percentage, 8.6 yards per pass attempt. I mean, I that is not the Bailey Zappi I'm used to.
Yeah, it's very shocking. And I would have thought the Steelers defense could, even if Zappy has a good game by his standards, keep him down to like 10 or 13 points. To allow 21, that's asking for trouble.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely not the game I thought it was gonna be, but the Pats definitely pulled some stuff out. However, TJ Watt, I mean, usually we see a big game out of him, a multi-sack game, but wow. Two pressures across 24 pass rush snaps. I mean,
Yeah.
that was just not a good night for him. And I think that defense really missed him and his usual performance in this matchup.
Yeah, and it's disappointing because from the Steelers, like with Kenny Pickett out, you would expect the defense to, be like, we're gonna carry the team tonight. Maybe they were caught looking past the Patriots and it bit him in the ass. Zeke Elliott combines for 140 yards and a touchdown, and really he's been the one Patriot really performing pretty well the last 2 weeks. 90 plus yards last week, 140 and a touchdown this week. A lot of people try to downplay the Zeke Elliott addition this offseason, but he's actually come through here recently.
I don't know if they're trying to downplay it so much as I absolutely forget he is in New England because New England just it hasn't done anything as a team. So having
Yeah.
one star player with a 2-win record, like I don't care how many yards you put up. I'm not paying attention because you haven't won any games. So I've legitimately forgotten that that's where he is right now. So I mean,
think I mean, good thing he was there because Bailey Zappi has a pass intercepted by linebacker Michael Walker, and it looks like he's gone. He's going for a pick six, and the one guy who gives maximum effort and keeps him from returning it for a touchdown, Zeke Elliott, with a chase down tackle to help keep the Steelers, from scoring enough to win this game. So not only 140 yards and a touchdown, but a huge chase down tackle too.
he we know he's a player. Like we've seen him do great things in the past. So I'm glad he's still, accomplishing things. Occasionally we see really good players go to really shitty teams and just kind of quit performing because they feel underutilized and they're just, not not feeling the spirit and the zest for life that they used to when they were with like a competitive team. So it's
Yeah.
nice that he's still, mentally in the game. I mean, maybe he's just trying to make his numbers look good in the hopes that he'll get traded somewhere else in the off season. But hey, I mean, whatever keeps him going.
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive to see a player, a veteran like that, giving maximum effort on a two-win team, right? And and then to me, this is what decided the game. And I have I don't usually call out Mike Tomlin. I don't usually have any issues with him. But down 21-10 in the second half, 4th and 2. This is the start of the fourth quarter. Uh, they could have kicked a chip shot field goal and cut it to a one score lead, 21-13. Instead, they go for it on 4th and 2 from the Patriots' 8-yard line and get stopped, turnover on downs. Amanda, in that situation, I always kick the field goal. If you have an opportunity to cut the lead to one score, you have to do it, right?
I mean, we have seen so many times this season where analytics says, but them not taking the field goal and then risking a turnover and downs is what has lost the team the game. We have
Yeah,
seen multiple times throughout the season, and I just don't understand. Like, if you are, down 3 scores in the first half, like, yeah, go for it if you need to. Like, if that's what analytics says, do it. But in these situations where it can get you closer, you're going to need 2 scores anyway, and a field goal can be one of them. Take the field goal when it's available. It's completely idiotic to me.
yeah, and the Steelers then block a punt and turn it into a touchdown and convert the two. So if they had kicked that field goal, that would have tied the game right there. So by that turnover on downs and not kicking it, they lose by 3 points. To me, that decided the game, that decision right there. And Mike Tomlin is a veteran who's been a head coach in this league for a long time. He needs to, if he was listening to his analytics department, he needs to stop, right?
Yeah, because I mean, had they gotten that field goal, this game would have been going into overtime with a
Yeah,
tied score of 21-21.
yeah. So I'm not an analytics fan, and I like to go back to these types of decisions and point to it and say that's the reason you lost the game. You didn't play your best football, but if you had at least kicked a field goal, that you would have been in overtime with a chance to win. So Steelers deserve to lose this game, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment, I think.
Yeah, I said it at the time. I was like, I kick that every time. The Patriots improved to 3-10. Not really a lot to talk about there. But for the Steelers, you fall to 7-6. You've lost 3 out of the last 4. Second straight week now, the Steelers have lost to a 2-win team. Remember, they lost to the Cardinals last week. Now they lose to the Patriots this week. Things are not looking good in Pittsburgh. A lot of bad momentum. And on top of that, Kenny Pickett is not expected to return until week 18. So he's expected to miss a big chunk of games here. It's looking like the Steelers might not be making the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I mean, you lose to two-win teams back to back, and that was the easy part of your schedule. Now you've got
Yeah.
the Colts, the Bengals, the Seahawks, and the Ravens.
Hmm.
So, I mean, week 18 is a long way out, and I mean, I would chalk that up as a loss. Baltimore in week 18, I don't see them pulling that one off, even with Pickett back.
Yeah. Um, and so maybe we're looking at the first time in his career Mike Tomlin finishes with a losing record.
Wow, damn.
Yeah. So,
That's gonna be a tough break for him because I mean Tomlin is one of those old reliable QB like he's had the QB, he's not had the QB. Like you expect Tomlin to like pull it off and at least finish, with a solid record. But man, different day.
yeah. And we talk about the quarterback position a lot. Like that's probably a big reason why the Patriots are so bad, not having a quarterback. And I mean, neither of us really trust Kenny Pickett, right? So maybe the Steelers are still, Tomlin had Big Ben for a lot of those years. Now you're trying to rely on Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky. Maybe they need to. Are you a believer in Kenny Pickett? Because I'm not.
I'm not. I mean, I know you prefer Maserati Mitch over Kenny, but yeah, I don't trust anyone in that quarterback room right now. I don't think they have their guy. I don't think either one of them can be developed into a franchise quarterback right now. So I think they need to get back to the drawing board there.
Yeah, look to upgrade. So all right, interesting Thursday night to start the week off. Let's get to our week 14 predictions. You're somewhat of a Tampa Bay fan with Baker Mayfield. I know he's one of your favorite quarterbacks. They've been up against it, kind of struggling at times this year. They're coming up into Atlanta against, a Falcons team on a 2-game winning streak. Uh, but only one game separates these two, and the Falcons are leading the division. So a big opportunity for Baker Mayfield and the Bucks to go into Atlanta and steal one. You think they can do it?
I don't. The Bucks have lost their last 4 road games. That defense is not doing enough to create turnovers and put pressure on the opposing offense. I mean, the Falcons right now are 2-0 since going back to Ridder as the starter. They've played mediocre teams, but right now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a mediocre team. So I think the Falcons are going to pull this one off. I mean, they won the first meeting back in October, so those interdivision matchups, can always be kind of feisty. I can see the Bucs pulling off a win here, but based on how both teams have been playing, I think Atlanta's going to pull a win here and give them a little bit of extra cushion in that NFC South.
Wow, I'm surprised you're going up against your boy Baker. I get it. I understand your reasons why they make sense, but I still don't believe in Atlanta. They didn't really impress me with the win against the Jets last week. They didn't run away with it or anything. And to me, Baker Mayfield is greater than Desmond Ridder. And so, and a division rivalry, anything can happen. Bucks are backs against the wall. They can't afford to lose this game. Give me Tampa Bay on the road.
I mean, I hope you're right here. And it's not so much that I've been impressed by Atlanta. I am very much not a Desmond Ridder fan. I don't have any faith in Atlanta, but I've been very disappointed in the Buccaneers this season.
Yeah.
So, I'm hoping Baker gets that 300 plus yard game. I hope they pull off a win. I hope it ends up being a blowout. I mean, Atlanta hasn't given up 300 passing yards all season, so this would be a great game for that to happen in. But I mean, the injuries in that Falcons secondary kind of give the Bucs a bit of a head start there, but I don't trust the Bucs this season.
Yeah, and they haven't given a lot of reason to trust them. The one consistent, Mike Evans, now 10 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He's only trailing Jerry Rice with 11 in NFL history.
Wow, what a great season for him.
Yeah, great career. So, and Rachaad White hasn't been bad too. So, I get why you're taking Atlanta, but I'm gonna go out on a limb here and pick Tampa Bay. I've been rooting for them kind of all season, and it's now or never. If Tampa Bay doesn't win this, they're likely gonna miss the playoffs. So,
Yeah, I mean, a win gives them a 39% chance to win the NFC South and a 44% chance to make the playoffs. A loss puts them at 3% and 6%. So,
yeah,
I mean, this is a must win for them. So I'm very, very tempted to take them, but I mean, since we disagreed, I'll kind of hold it steady. But I just, I mean, you play the Panthers and you barely beat them. I have a lot of questions about what's going on. And I mean, last week was a really tough week for them, and I don't know how much the Bucs have rebounded since then. So,
yeah. And you've got a solid 7-game lead, so you pick Atlanta. I'm gonna catch up to you by picking your Packers and your boy Baker.
oh, it's cute. You think I'm not picking the Packers over the Giants this week?
All right, how about Lions Bears? A second time they've met this season, and the Bears almost beat them in Detroit. But the Lions with that comeback, we don't need to talk about that. But a good opportunity here in Chicago, and how you beat the Lions is you force turnovers. And I know Goff had a clean game last week, but he had 6 turnovers in 2 games the previous 2 weeks. And the Bears defense, for whatever reason, is on fire right now as far as takeaways. They've forced 7 interceptions in their last 2 games, and it easily could have been 9. So are you going to pick Detroit here? I know you've been picking them all season.
I mean, I feel like I have to just because, it's kind of what we do. I pick the Lions, you pick against them, and now I have a 7-game lead. Um, I do think the Lions are going to be a better team here. And I know it was 2 weeks ago when they last match up. Could be a different result. I mean, but the Lions seem a bit more comfortable on the road. They've had a lot of effectiveness in the against the rush, a lot of effectiveness with their running game as well. And I don't expect Goff to have another clean week of no interceptions. I was very proud of him last week. It was a great win for them. But I can't take the Bears here. I just don't trust them this season. So I'm gonna stick with my Detroit picks and see how that plays out.
Yeah, I'm banking on this is my bold prediction here. You can write it down if you want. I think Justin Fields will outplay Jared Goff here. I think Justin Fields has one of his best games of the season on Sunday tomorrow against the Lions. And Detroit hasn't played good football in 4 straight games. you could make an argument they could be on a 3-game losing streak right now. Like they've found ways to win despite not playing their best football. And a lot of it on the defensive side of the ball too, which is a great opportunity for Justin Fields. And then with Goff playing a clean game last week, no turnovers, they still barely won that game. If Derek Carr doesn't fumble the ball and they could go down and take the lead. They had all the momentum after the Lions got up to a 21-0 lead. So I know I'm a Lions hater and I've been picking against them, but to me, they're not playing clean football right now. And I don't think it starts tomorrow in Chicago, rivalry game, divisional game. This is perfectly set up for a Bears win here, and that's where I'm going.
I know you're gonna do that. But just so you know, you said that your bold prediction was Justin Fields outplays Jared Goff last time, and that happened, but the Lions still won. So,
Well,
I'm gonna stick with
even
my Lions
better.
pick. I'm gonna stick with it. I mean, he definitely outplayed him. Kid had 3 interceptions and still beat the Bears last time. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, Sam Laporta right now is just so hot. I think, last week he had 100 receiving yards. I think he'll do it again this week. I mean, he's really heating up right now, and he's becoming such a great weapon for Jared Goff. And I think having those weapons he trusts is what has helped kind of bring those turnover numbers down a bit for Goff. I know, your thoughts on Goff, your 3-word phrase you like to utter during games, referring to him as an ass. But I'm going to stick with my Lions picks here.
Well, in a sneaky under the radar narrative here, I know the Lions are 9-3, and this might sound crazy and whatever, but if they don't win this, I think there's pressure to win this game, and I don't think the Lions know it, and I don't think Lions fans know it. But I'm just going to say this as someone who has covered the NFL for six, this is our 6th year. If the Lions lose this game on Sunday, keep an eye on this team. Their schedule doesn't get any easier. They play multiple division games against Minnesota. They play the Broncos. They play the Cowboys. They could very easily go on a losing streak if they don't start playing better football. And you're a Packers fan, the door might open. I don't think the door has closed on this division yet. This might sound crazy. I don't think it has.
Well, I don't think it has either. I mean, Minnesota and Detroit have yet to play.
Yeah.
So whoever pulls off, both of those, that could easily swing the division. I mean, Detroit wins this, they're at a 95% chance to win the division.
Yep.
But, they just lost to Green Bay on Thanksgiving. They've got 2 games against Minnesota. You lose to Chicago and both games to Minnesota. I mean, that NFC North division is a very different picture.
And Green Bay's hot right now too.
Shh, don't jinx it.
So enough about these Lions who are quote unquote Super Bowl contenders. Haha, we're laughing.
I
Colts.
mean, I think they're postseason contenders. I will just say that. I think they can make it to the postseason, which is the bar for Detroit. I mean, if they make it to the postseason, that's their Super Bowl. Yay them. That's all they
No,
want,
for real.
really.
Win the NFC North once. Let's that's a big accomplishment. Let's do that first, right?
Fair enough. Don't make it on a wild card. Like actually, earn the spot.
Yeah. How about let's do Colts Bengals.
So we saw a very interesting game in the last Bengals game. That was, super interesting. I think I don't know if I've been more surprised by a backup quarterback performance than I have
Yeah,
in that game. I
yeah.
mean, Jake Brady over here. So, I I was very impressed by that. However, Indy has really been warming up. Their offensive scheming has really come together. Minshew, I know we said Minshew magic was dead, and I've kind of been on that, but he seems to have been really working on those deep passing and his ability to like hit his target. And we've seen Zach Moss perform really well with Taylor's injuries throughout the season. So this one I can see being a very close, very tight matchup. Who do you have in this one?
So yeah, the Colts are coming in hot. They are on a 4-game winning streak, but Jake Browning played incredible on Monday night, and shout out, we had Hugh Jackson on the show on Thursday, and he said, if Jake Browning keeps playing like that, who knows with this Bengals team? And he said the key is to feed Joe Mixon, who is a big reason they won that game. Um, Jonathan Taylor's still out, and a big thing for Cincy is no Cam Taylor-Britt at corner. That's a big loss. But still, I don't think this Colts team, as great as Minshew's been playing, I don't think they're an 8-5 team. I don't think that they're going to win the division. Give me the Bengals here at home. Hopefully, Jake Browning has another solid performance. I don't see why not.
Wow, I think we're just gonna pick opposite all week and see how that plays out.
Good, I
Um,
need it. I need it this
I
week.
know you do, but that just implies that you would be right on these. So we'll see. Yeah, I just worry the Bengals have been really weak against the run, and we know the Bengals can be exploited with deep shots as well. Which luckily they've faced a couple backup quarterbacks recently, so they haven't really been concerned about the deep threat. So I'm thinking Minshew can pick them apart a little bit on defense. But I do love that this is just like a little Apple Cup reunion. I mean, Jake Browning, Washington alum, Gardner Minshew, Washington State. So I
Do a
think
good
that's just
one.
kind of a
Yeah.
cute little reunion there. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Bengals are allowing 4.8 yards per rush right now, and we know that Colts rush is formidable. So the Bengals 31st in the NFL against the rush versus the Colts, who are pretty, I think they're top 5 right now in rushing. I'm just
Okay.
kind of concerned about that Bengals defense.
Yeah, I mean, hey, just like the Apple Cup, give me the Huskies.
All right.
I
We'll see how that plays out for you.
need it, man. This is a big week for me. It's boom or bust this week.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, you want
uh,
to talk what? Where are we at? Texans, Jets.
um, Texans Jets. All right, yeah, let's do that one.
So, I mean, we've seen this Niners defense. We have seen that or we've seen Houston running the 49ers defense against the Rams. We've seen them try to imitate what is happening in San Francisco. And we've seen them be successful a couple times this season. Meanwhile, the Jets are a shit show. But this, I know we've said this a couple weeks in a row that the Jets have to win this game, or there is absolutely no point in the storyline of Aaron Rodgers coming back. I don't know if there's a point right now in him coming back. I mean, 4-8, like, what are you going to do with that?
You
Um,
literally have to win out.
they would have to, but we have seen Aaron Rodgers come back and say, you know, we're going to run the table and then successfully do that for Green Bay. We
Yeah,
were, I don't remember what our record was, but he was like, no, we're going to run the table. We won 5 straight to win out the season and make it into the postseason. So we know Aaron Rodgers can do this. So he's not playing this week. I don't know what their intention is for him to come back or what the timeline looks like exactly if they've announced that.
I
But
think Christmas Eve is his goal. Christmas Eve.
okay. But I mean, the Jets have to win this one, but I don't think they can. I mean, CJ Stroud, I mean, we knew going into the season that the Jets had a good defense, but it has completely fallen apart.
Yeah,
How do you feel about this matchup?
yeah. Like, so if they can get to that spot, if they can get to 7-8 and go on a 3-game winning streak, get to 7-8, Aaron Rodgers coming back would spark the defense and the whole team, the whole organization. And I think they could carry that momentum on a 5-game winning streak and get into the playoffs. But two things: does 9-8 even get you into the playoffs in a very competitive AFC? And can they win 3 straight before he gets there? And I don't think they can. They are going back to Zach Wilson, which I believe is an upgrade over Tim Boyle and Trevor Siemian. But this Texans defense also is coming off a game where they beat up a red hot Broncos team, picked them off 3 times, and got pressure on them all day. So it's hard for me to pick the Jets here. I mean, I know it's a rookie quarterback against a good Jets defense, but at the same time, I just think the Texans are the better team, and the Jets are on a 5-game losing streak. They have to prove it to me first before I'm going to pick them. I think I have to go Texans here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm picking the Texans here as well. But we did see that Jets defense. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Jalen Hurts all threw two interceptions
Yeah,
against this team, and we've seen them that defense play really well against quarterbacks who hold on to the ball. And CJ Stroud has one of the longest ball hold times of any quarterback right now. I mean, he has the most touchdowns and the least interceptions on plays where he holds onto the ball for more than 4 seconds.
yeah,
So, I mean, I know that's a very nitpicky stat to look at, but he likes to wait until the right guy gets open. And right now, the right guy, Tank Dell, is out with
yeah,
a fibula injury.
yeah,
So I don't know how that's going to play out against that defense. And granted, the Jets have, put up a couple stinkers lately, but they play really well against competitive quarterbacks for some reason. Um,
mm-hmm.
so I've I'm gonna pick the Texans here because I agree with you on that. I know the Jets will try to hang around in this game, but I don't know if they, have the full team to beat them. But I would not be shocked if this wasn't a very strong defensive show for the Jets, and I could see maybe the defense pulling off a win here.
Well, hey, if you're gonna say it, you have to pick the Jets. Come on now, back it
No,
up.
you can pick a team and say I could see it being an upset though. I am just saying like if that defense grabs a pick six or two, I mean,
Yeah,
I don't think Stroud is going to have enough time to hold on to the ball like he likes to do. So I think he might have a couple inaccurate throws. If you can get a pick six or two, you need one offensive score. You put up 21 points. I could see it being an upset. However, I do not trust them to make that happen, so I cannot pick the Jets.
yeah, like we need to see it happen first. If it happens once, then maybe they can, snowball that momentum into two or three straight, right? But
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's hard to pick the first one on a 5 game losing streak. But I agree, it's a rookie quarterback against a veteran defense that can make plays. And Tank Dell is the first game without Tank Dell, from the start. So it'll be interesting to see how this Houston offense does. Uh, but I agree, on paper, the eye test right now, everything points to the Texans.
Yeah. I'll be intrigued to see who his, new shining penny turns out to be after this game with Tank Dell out.
Yeah, and does Zach Wilson's return provide any kind of a spark at all? Like, I think they can put up a little bit more. They've scored 8 points and, under 10 points. I think Zach Wilson can give you 10, 13, maybe even 16 points.
Yeah, but the issue is there was an opportunity or there was a conversation at least about Zach Wilson coming back and he didn't want to. So,
Yeah, but I think that he's been talked into it.
yeah, but I mean, how much energy and, morale boost is there going to be when your quarterback has to be talked into starting? You want a quarterback who is dying to get out there and trying to come back from injuries and, fighting to be on the field and ready to pull off a win no matter what. Not somebody who has to be coerced to be on the field.
Well, he needs to take, hopefully, he thought about it and came to the conclusion that if I go out there and ball out, that might save my career. If I don't, I might not start again in this league. Like, I don't care. You don't want to play for a bad team. You don't want to play behind a bad O line. It doesn't matter. If you don't play well, you might never get this opportunity again. So try and make the most of it, right?
Yeah, he needs to have a nice long conversation with Ezekiel Elliott about how to play your ass off for a shitty team and just, prove that you're still individually talented or not still, because I don't know if we ever thought Zach Wilson was individually talented. Um,
Well, maybe at BYU.
yeah,
But
I mean, not in the NFL though, but prove that there's still something worth you having a job in the NFL.
And this is where Aaron Rodgers came to bat for him this week and defended him. And I think Aaron Rodgers is in his ear, like, look, uh, you know, you might not want to play, but go out there and give it your best, right?
Yeah, also
So,
I don't think he wants to disappoint his dad. No, you can be okay when your parents are mad at you, but when they're disappointed in you, like Aaron Rodgers being disappointed in his quarterback play this week, I don't know if he can. I don't think he'll recover from that emotionally.
well, we saw that little conversation on the sideline and the smirk by Zach. I think Rodgers is like, look, I was joking. Like, yeah, it is bad, but go out there and, I'm not serious about it. Like, go out there and ball out. Give me a shot. to get healthy and come back. Who knows? Maybe you can, if you save the season, you'll be a hero. So let's see what
Everybody
he's
wants to
got.
be the hero.
Yeah. Let's talk Jags at Browns. Trevor Lawrence is questionable. It looked a lot worse than it turned out to be when he got hurt on Monday night. It looked really bad. He could barely put any weight on it, in obvious pain. But it sounds like things are progressing a lot better. He's questionable, will be a game time decision. I still think if you're the Jags, ideally you'd like to sit him at least 1 week and get him closer to 100%. But the question is, do they have that time? Can they afford to? Because if you trot out CJ Beathard, you're likely going to lose. And if you fall to 8-5, you got the Colts and Texans right on your ass that might tie you up. So uh, it'll be an interesting debate whether Trevor plays tomorrow or not. If he doesn't play, I think the Browns do just enough to get the win. I don't trust CJ Beathard to start and deliver a win. And the Browns are declining to name a starter between Dorian Thompson Robinson and Joe Flacco. If I'm the Browns, I go with the veteran Joe Flacco. And I'm gonna. I mean, are you picking Cleveland here, regardless of who they're starting?
Yeah, I have a feeling Trevor Lawrence isn't going to play this week.
Yeah,
Basing off of that, like obviously if Trevor starts and he, wakes up feeling ready to go on Sunday, our picks might be second guessed. But in this situation, I'm gonna assume it's gonna be CJ Beathard versus Joe Flacco. I trust Flacco to play well enough to steal kind of a low scoring win. I expect the Browns defense to step up here. And that Browns defense plays much better at home. We've
yeah,
seen them have some really rough games on the road, but so far this season they've been great at home. I do like the matchup of the Jags coach, Doug Peterson, facing off against his former DC, Jim Schwartz. I think that's, kind of an interesting matchup because they know each other so well. I mean, they won a Super Bowl together in Philly in 2017. They know plenty about each other. They know their scheming front and back.
yeah.
And Schwartz might be, scheming against CJ Beathard. So I don't know how much scheming you need to do there.
Yeah, to me, it's black and white. If Trevor Lawrence starts, give me the Jags. If CJ Beathard starts, give me the Browns. It's as simple as that. Uh, Jim Schwartz might have a hell of a game plan and all that defense, but if Trevor Lawrence is going, I'm taking the Jags. Christian Kirk is on IR, so that's a loss for Jacksonville. Amari Cooper questionable for Cleveland, still in concussion protocol, but that could change. He could get cleared tomorrow. We'll see.
Yeah, and something that's interesting here is we have two really high sack number guys competing against quarterbacks who have pretty limited mobility. I mean, Myles Garrett and Josh Allen are going to be going after the opposing quarterbacks in this game. I mean, they've got 13 sacks for Garrett and 13 and a half for Josh Allen. They're right up there with Khalil Mack and TJ Watt this
Yeah.
season. So, Joe Flacco might be getting chased a little bit. And I mean, even if it was DTR playing instead of Joe Flacco, I think that we're gonna see quite a few sacks in this game.
Yeah, and Myles Garrett is going to be fired up after last week, not even recording a stat. No tackles, no sacks. He was almost non-existent last week. I think he's going to be ready to go this week.
Hey, Alex, my dog wants to go outside. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
Sorry. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah.
If you want to just like talk the next game and just like have me not be on it or something.
Yeah, well, while you're taking out the dog, we'll talk about the one-win Panthers.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
you can handle that one. I'm picking the Saints, obviously. Be right back.
why not the Panthers? Come on now. At the
Oh,
5-7 Saints. Derek Carr clears concussion protocol and should start after getting hurt last week, getting pile drived by Bruce Irvin against the Lions. Saints are on a 3-game losing streak, so they still in it, battling for the NFC South. Uh, we talked about the Bucks needing a get right game last week against Carolina. They did just enough to get that win. I think the same thing happens this week. The Saints do just enough to get a very important win to end their 3-game losing streak and get to 6-7. And if Tampa Bay beats Atlanta, we could be looking at a three-way tie atop the NFC South, all 6-7. I don't really have much faith in Carolina. I think this is a 2-win, at most a 3-win team this year. You know, maybe they'll be able to sneak one more win in, but they're 1-11 for a reason. And in New Orleans with Derek Carr back, I think the Saints win this one. Amanda, you back? Do you agree with me on that? I mean, rookie Bryce Young, not a lot going on there. We'll see if Jonathan Mingo can get involved. Chuba Hubbard had 2 rushing touchdowns last week, so maybe they try to feed him. But the Saints have Alvin Kamara, Taysom Hill, Chris Olave. Even Jimmy Graham caught a touchdown last week. So the Saints are the more talented team. They're at home. They're the more desperate team. They're still in playoff contention, still in division contention. So the Saints should win this one at home. So we'll see. We'll see what Amanda says on that one. But she said she's taking the Saints. I think she should take the Panthers, though, so that I can get my 7-game, get caught up here. But yeah, I mean, the Saints, they need to protect the football. They need to feed the running game. They need to play some good defense. Paulson Adebo can take the ball away. Cameron Jordan get pressure on the quarterback. Tyrann Mathieu, he can get an interception. I don't think the Panthers outplay the Saints. I just don't see that happening. It was 21-18 Bucks over Panthers. I could see a similar score here, 21-18 Saints over Panthers. 3-game losing streak Saints, so I don't really see they need a get right game, and this is the perfect matchup for that, in my opinion. We talked Texans Jets. And we'll do Rams at Ravens here coming up once Amanda gets back.
I'm back.
Okay, so
you're talking about how you're gonna pick the Panthers and I'm gonna pick the Saints, right?
No, you're gonna pick the Panthers and I'm gonna pick the Saints.
God, there is no way in hell. I mean, I know Carr is out, Jameis Winston is starting, but they have so many injuries on that offense, and I still would not pick the Panthers over the Saints.
Where did you see that? Let me check that out. Jameis Winston starting?
Yeah, that's what the last update I saw was that Winston was starting.
I see a should start, but Derek Carr cleared concussion.
Okay, I thought they were gonna give him another week to rest it off.
Last I saw, it said Derek Carr cleared concussion and should start.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, maybe I missed that one.
I don't know. It's Saints remove questionable designation for Derek Carr.
Oh shit. Well then, yeah, definitely. I was gonna pick him regardless of who started at QB. The last update I saw, it was probably yesterday, that they said that he was expected to clear over the weekend, but that Winston would be starting. But yeah, that clears it up.
Yeah, and so, we talked about last week it being a get-right game for the Bucks. The Panthers are the perfect get-right opponent, right?
Yeah.
And the Saints are on a 3-game losing streak, so they need it desperately. And if the Bucks beat Atlanta, we could be looking at a 3-way tie atop the NFC South, all at 6-7.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I'll just root for the whole division, I guess.
Yeah, and that's my thing is I don't see Atlanta being good enough to pull away from that division. I think they're right there in the mix with these other teams. It would make sense to me. We've talked about it all year long, how no one's running away with the division. It would make a ton of sense for them all to be 6-7.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like that division, because we've made jokes all season. Like, I don't think anyone wants to win the division. So
Yeah.
them being tied up would make that nothing would be more logical at this point.
Well, tomorrow you need to wear your "Wake Up Feeling Dangerous" Baker Mayfield shirt then.
I love Baker. I always root for them. I'll pick against them sometimes because I don't trust them in certain games, but I am always pulling for Baker.
Yeah, and the thing is, they barely beat Carolina, so it's
I
like,
know
can they
that's
do
my
it?
game. I'm so
Yeah,
disappointed. They beat Carolina about three, five.
yeah, 21-18.
Yeah, a 3 point. Like, no, I can't pick you this week, Bake. I'm sorry. I love you, but
While
no.
you were taking the dog out, I said that's the score for this game too, 21-18 Saints.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. But you want to talk Ravens? I mean, the 6-6 Rams, 9-3 Ravens.
yeah.
And I know we are a bit on the Matt Stafford hate train, just because, NFC North, and we've had a lot of personal insight into Stafford's playing abilities, but they've looked really good the past couple weeks. I mean, they're on a 3-game win streak, but this is a really challenging defense that they're playing.
Hmm.
So I see that win streak ending. I mean, the Ravens are known for crushing NFC visitors. I mean, they are real solid at home this season, and I just don't see the Rams continuing with a win in Baltimore. There is no way in hell.
Yeah, that would be impressive as hell if they go into Baltimore and get on a 4-game winning streak and beat the red hot Ravens. I think the reason the Rams have been successful lately, the return of Kyron Williams and that offensive line, not only opening holes for Kyron, but Matthew Stafford has 0 sacks taken the last 2 games. And I think that ends on Sunday, tomorrow. The Ravens lead the NFL in sacks. Jadeveon Clowney is on pace for a career high. So I think the Ravens are the better team, and I think they get pressure on Stafford, and that results in, I think the Ravens win this by double digits.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Stafford has been sacked the fourth fewest among quarterbacks this season, but
Yeah.
I can see his numbers just skyrocketing after this week. I mean, that Ravens defense is feisty. I mean, they will come after you, they will chase you down. We have seen some insane sacks in their matchups, and I can't trust the Rams here at all. I mean, we've seen the Ravens running in touchdowns, passing in touchdowns. Right now they're matching the franchise record for rushing touchdowns in a season. In 2020, they had 24. So,
Wow.
right now they're at 22. They're tied with the Dolphins for the most in the NFL. And the Rams have allowed 11 touchdowns this season rushing, which is tied for the 12th most, I think. So this matchup, I think, is really going to kind of show who is better at that. And the Rams schedule has been a lot weaker than Baltimore's. So I have a feeling that 12th position they have, and, being the 12th best against rushing touchdowns, is going to get knocked down a few pegs this week.
Yeah, and how about your boy Mason Crosby might be making his NFL debut this or the season debut.
So I love Mason Crosby. However, it was time to move on from him.
Yeah.
His distance was getting shorter, his accuracy was decreasing. So while he is an improvement for the Rams, um, I don't think they should be, having him step in unless it's dire straits, anything longer than 48 yards in this game.
Yeah, and maybe the Ravens are thinking about moving on from Justin Tucker too, the way he's been kicking this year.
Hey, don't say mean things about Jay Tuck. We love him.
You love him. I love Robbie Gould, and he announced his retirement this week. Still hasn't missed a playoff kick. The GOAT, Robbie Gould.
Yeah, if only his team actually went to the playoffs more often to hold on to that.
You just hate him because he was a Packer killer over there in San Francisco.
Listen, I bought that man a drink at a bar once, and I said hi, and I let him go along with thinking that I was a Bears fan just because I didn't want to talk shit. I have a lot of respect for Robbie Gold. I like the guy. Um,
Yeah,
but I
he
mean,
was clutch.
he was he
Yeah.
was really fun to watch. I was pretty disappointed that he retired.
Yeah,
Um,
me too. I was hoping some veteran would sign him for the playoffs.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
doesn't he visit a couple teams, or like people were asking about him?
He did this offseason, I think, but nothing
Yeah.
really came out of it.
I think it's funny that
Um,
the timing of his retirement announcement and the signing of Mason Crosby were very close together. Like, oh
yeah.
well, Mason, never mind, I'm out.
Yeah, they chose Mason over me. I'm done.
Fuck this.
But to your point, I like Justin Tucker too, and I think he's been struggling in the regular season. If the Ravens need him come playoffs, I think he delivers.
Yeah, postseason J Tuck is just insane, and I think he'll continue that when it comes down to it. I mean, was that there was a 62 yarder a couple seasons ago, and he was just not even like paying attention. Like they were ahead. There was no reason to kick a field goal. And I
Hmm.
don't remember what the matchup was, but he was just chilling, chatting with somebody on the sidelines, not even like, warming up. And they flagged him over and he like kind of waved him down. And he looked confused, like, wait, why the fuck am I kicking? And then he just went out there and made it. Like didn't warm up, didn't stretch, like just ran over, was like, all right, fine, 62 yards and just made it. And I was like, just to be that good that you don't even have to like stretch. Like you see kickers like, swinging their leg above their head and stretching, getting ready for that field goal. And Justin Tucker is just like, oh shit, all right, cool. Sinks it, goes
Nonchalantly.
back. Yeah, just so chill about it. Like
Yeah.
I just love that. Just to be so good at what you do that being put on the spot to do it and not being expected to, like not being prepared, not even stretching. He was like, yeah, fuck it. All right, cool. Anyway, and then he just goes back to his conversation. Like,
I mean, I think we're any NFL fan will always remember the game winner he hit against the Lions. That was like what, 66 or
mm-hmm.
67? Like that was incredible. That's the best kick I've ever seen. And the worst kick I've ever seen goes to Cody Parkey. So I was live for that one. But anyways,
All right.
let's
So
talk Vikings Raiders and you know, we both are keeping a close eye on these Vikings and Josh Dobbs, 4 interceptions last time he took the field.
yeah, I mean, he definitely came back down to earth. That rocket ship exploded a little bit there. Um,
Yeah,
and it's okay. Like there's a reason he has been a career backup, like we didn't expect him to stay phenomenal and, not have any tough games. So, I could see a rebound here. Um, Justin Jefferson is back, so he has a great target to throw to. And I
yeah,
think the team's
huge.
going to be pumped with Jefferson back. They've been missing him for sure. And the Raiders are a little, I mean, waiving Marcus Peters is an interesting move. Uh,
Yeah.
they signed Jack Jones, designated Brandon, I don't know, Facyson, I don't know how to say his last name. Um,
Faison.
Faison, I don't know if there's a
Yeah.
Y in there, whatever. But like some of their moves are interesting. Like, so this guy's coming back from a shin injury from IR, and it just seems like they've made a lot of cornerback moves, and I don't know if I trust any of them. It seems like they're just kind of grasping at straws right now, and it's interesting. I see a lot of movement, but not a lot of like progress.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's interesting on both sides here. Like, didn't the Vikings go on like a 5 game winning streak, or maybe it was 4? And Josh Dobbs was red hot, and it seems like Dobbs was playing his best football when it was backyard, schoolyard, run around and make shit happen. And once he got more comfortable with the offense and running Kevin Stefanski's, or not Kevin Stefanski, Kevin O'Connell's offense, he got worse. And uh, I think that I don't think that he's best fit for what Stefanski wants, or not Stefanski. Why do I keep doing that? Kevin O'Connell wants to do. Um, I don't trust their running game with Alexander Madison and Cam Akers.
Mhm.
Justin Jefferson is a big get back, but to me, give me Viking killer Devontae Adams, give me Josh Jacobs, give me Jacoby Myers, give me Max Crosby, give me the Raiders at home here. I'm not buying what the Vikings are selling. I think the Packers have come up and are now the second best team in the North. I don't think the Vikings are going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that Raiders defense can really get after Dobbs here. I mean, Danielle Hunter has been pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
And I think that the Raiders offense is really like in a warm spot. I don't want to say hot streak. They're in a warm streak right now. I mean, Devontae Adams has had 4 straight games with a touchdown reception against the Vikings. So we know he can, he knows how to go after Minnesota. And I don't I didn't know who to pick going into this one. I was thinking the Vikings because they need a get right game here, and being
Yeah,
above 500 would be great for them. Dropping below 500 would, make it tough because they're supposed to be, number two. And I think Green Bay is putting some pressure on them, and I think they feel that. So I could see Minnesota pulling this one off. But right now, the Raiders are interesting. There's a lot of movement, a lot of behind the scenes things, but I don't know. I think I'll pick
well,
Minnesota here just because I don't trust either team. And I know you're trying to make up 7 games this week, so we may as well make it, 14.
yeah, I'm cool with it. 14 minus 13, I'll be within one. Uh, um,
Yeah.
but yeah, give me Devontae Adams. Honestly, I think that I trust Aiden O'Connell tomorrow more than Josh Dobbs. And that would sound ludicrous 3 weeks ago. But Dobbs on Monday night against the Bears was bad.
He was
And
so bad.
it was 4 picks. It easily could have been five and a pick six. Like, so we'll see how Dobbs looks with Justin Jefferson back. But my gut is telling me Raiders at home here. So we'll see if my gut leads me, the right way or not. The Vikings have had the bye week to prepare for this game. Both teams on a 2-game losing streak. I think the Raiders are off the bye too. Yeah, both teams are.
Yeah,
So
I don't know. I want to pick the Raiders because I have been all over Josh Jacobs this season.
yeah,
I was predicting his first 100-yard week back. I was off by 2 weeks. I don't want to pick the Vikings. I don't trust them. I do think they should win with Justin Jefferson. They should have a rebound this week, but
hmm
it's Minnesota, so they'll probably lose. I'll stick with my Minnesota pick, but I just want to announce that I'm not very confident in it in case they lose by 40, so nobody comes after me, okay?
Hey, I don't care if you're confident or not. I just need the dub.
Yeah, that's fair. But for my ego, I just want to announce that I'm
Okay.
mostly doing this so you can potentially make up the game because I'm feeling generous. I'm in the Christmas spirit, guys.
Yeah, you're gonna be feeling generous, and then I'm gonna erase that 7-game lead you got. So don't be feeling too generous.
Listen, you have been saying that you're going to catch up for weeks, months now, so we'll just see. You
This
want to talk Seattle at the 49ers? This is a matchup that I'm stoked for this week. I mean, Seattle right at 500, 500, 6-6. The Niners 9-3. We talked with Hugh Jackson. We talked previous weeks about how efficient and effective the 49ers are right now. Do you think we see some miraculous Seattle stuff in San Francisco this week, or do you think Seattle's going to run away with this one?
I'm not excited about this game. Usually I would be. If Russell Wilson was still there, I might be. But I don't think the Niners are hitting on all strides right now, and I don't think they look past this game because they hate Seattle and Seattle hates them. Um, but I don't see this game going well. Like Thanksgiving night, I expected to be a much better game than it was. If not for that, what was it, a pick six? If not for that pick six, that would have been so ugly. And I think the same thing happens here in San Francisco. The Niners are rolling. The Niners might be the best team in football right now. I think they get a 5-game winning streak. The Niners are trending up and about to be on a 5-game winning streak, and the Seahawks are trending down and about to be on a 4-game losing streak. I don't see this game going well. Uh, the Niners get compared to the Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, Torrey Holt Rams. That was the greatest show on turf. This is the greatest show on grass. Give me the Niners by 17.
Yeah, I mean, Seattle is rested longer before this matchup. They're healthier team-wise than they were at their last matchup. But yeah, like you said, that it was an 18-point game last time, and there was a pick six involved. And
Yeah.
I think the Niners offense has really kind of like cleaned up the past week. And they just seem I cannot see Seattle pulling off a win here. I would be absolutely shocked. And it's a pretty lopsided matchup, but we know Seattle will be scrappy in this one. We know Geno Smith is going to be doing everything he can to pull off a win here. But I,
And
I see that 49ers 10 straight divisional game win streak turning to 11 after this week.
yeah, and something that I didn't know was coming up, and I don't know, it kind of snuck up on me. Geno Smith is a game time decision with a groin injury. I didn't really know
Oh,
about that or what. So
yeah.
I think he
I missed
plays.
that.
Yeah, I think he plays, but if Drew
He's
Lock starts, it's going to be even uglier. I think Geno plays, but I think he's limited too.
limited.
And
Yep. I was just gonna say he's gonna be not very mobile and he's gonna take a hit or two and then have a hard time getting up. I bet
yeah,
even if he starts, Drew Lock comes in at some point.
yeah. So Niners should win big. I'm going to up it from 17 to 20. I think Niners by 20 plus.
Yeah. I can see it being, 3 touchdowns or more,
Yeah.
especially I didn't know Geno Smith was injured. Was that a game thing? Was that from practice?
I don't know. It might have been a practice. Maybe it was a late in the game. I know Kenneth Walker expected to be back, so that's good news, but I
That's
don't think
great
it's
news.
enough. Geno Smith wants to play, but the Seahawks will test him pregame.
Hmm, interesting.
Geno
Okay.
Smith trending in the wrong direction to play.
Yeah. All right. Well, Niners by 40 then, my bad. Um,
What about Drew Lock?
no, 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 no.
Now this game I can't wait for. This is a playoff game. This is
Mhm.
week 14, but this is a playoff game. Bills at Chiefs in Arrowhead. We've seen this in the AFC Championship game before. Two teams coming in not playing their best ball. The Chiefs are 2-3 in their last five and have scored less than 22 in four of their last five. So the Chiefs' offense isn't hitting on all cylinders. They're not playing their best ball. Buffalo 3-5 in their last eight and have lost three of their last four. And for the Bills, this is the playoffs. If they lose this game in Arrowhead, you can kiss the playoffs goodbye. They need to damn near win out in a very competitive AFC. Um, the Bills are coming off their bye, so extra time to prepare to go into Arrowhead. Josh Allen is 2-2 in his career in Arrowhead, the only quarterback to beat Mahomes twice in Kansas City. Can Josh Allen go into Arrowhead and beat these Chiefs on Sunday? This is going to be that's a playoff game. No other way to say it.
Yeah, I mean, I love Josh Allen, but these teams are so different. Like, give me last year's Buffalo Bills and the Chiefs, and I would have very different thoughts about this game. But both teams are kind of lacking that spark, that explosiveness that we're used to seeing out of them. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we're used to absolutely dominant passing and rushing on both teams. Buffalo is, trying to stretch around the field a little bit more the past couple weeks. Kansas City is leaning heavily on the run. And Kansas City is definitely feeling the pressure of some of these losses because they're getting scrappy, players are getting fined, there's fighting on the field. And I can see them being pretty tightly wound after last week's game against Green Bay. There's a lot of controversy about the missed pass interference in that matchup. But that is not why they lost the game. I don't think it
Yeah.
was reffing. I think the ref was shitty on both sides. But
No,
I mean, I can see them
that
being pretty scrappy.
that Mahomes interception, I believe, is why they lost.
Yeah.
I think that was huge, a big momentum shift there, and Green Bay used that to put more and more pressure on Kansas City. Mahomes has thrown 10 interceptions this season, on pace for a career high, and he's had 5 games this year with a less than 80 passer rating. So the Chiefs are not the same offense. Whether you want to say it's the receivers, I think Mahomes is a little bit to blame too. And maybe it's Eric Bieniemy being gone and Matt Nagy as OC. Whatever it is, the Chiefs aren't the same either.
No. And we've had a lot of conversations about Matt Nagy. But there are some plays that you watch, and granted, MVS can't catch to save his life, but there are some situations where you look down the field and Mahomes throws with such confidence and his receiver or his tight end are not where the ball went. So I think
Mm-hmm.
there's some miscommunications, maybe some poorly drawn up plays. It definitely seems like the Nagy effect is causing a lot of issues there. But I mean, look at these last matchup. The Bills, as you mentioned, have beaten the Chiefs at Arrowhead in the regular season, both of the past 2 seasons. Josh Allen in those games, 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Patrick Mahomes in those games, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
Yeah,
So Mahomes has been pretty pick happy this season, and normally those were his worst games of the season.
yeah.
But
Uh,
we have seen some really rough games from him so far this season. So I can see the Bills, continuing that streak in Arrowhead.
yeah, it's gonna come down to turnovers. I believe full-heartedly that whoever turns the ball over more is gonna lose. Josh Allen, can he protect the football in this game? 16 turnovers this year. So it's a big question on both sides. Who protects the football? And the worrisome thing for Buffalo here is the amount of pressure on them. Like sometimes your back is against the wall and you play to your best ability, right? And you keep your season alive. Sometimes that pressure is so heavy that you play tight and you force the ball and you try to do much and you turn the ball over and you get yourself down early. That could happen to Buffalo. So in Arrowhead, loud crowd too, a desperate Chiefs team a little bit as well. There's a lot of different, narratives here on both for both teams. Um, I believe Buffalo is absolutely capable of going into Arrowhead and winning this, but I need to see it. And this is why I can't wait to watch this game because I, either way, I want to see it, and it's going to be a fun game. Who are you picking here?
I gotta pick Buffalo. I can't root for Kansas City. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of them. After last week against the Green Bay game, nah. I sound like my
Yeah.
husband, the Broncos fan, but I will run my mouth all game if I pick the Chiefs. So I'm gonna pick the Bills here. And the matchups I'm intrigued by. Stefon Diggs needs 31 yards for having 100 or 1,000 receiving yards in the season. It would make him the third Buffalo player with 4 seasons of 1,000 receiving yards. He would be the first one to do it in consecutive years. So I think
Nice.
Stefan is going to be firing on all cylinders, ready to go in this game. Josh Allen feels good at Arrowhead, so I feel like he's gonna, be in the right mindset. I know it's a lot of pressure because if they win this game, it gives them a 1 in 3 chance to make the playoffs, which is huge for them. If they lose it, it drops down below 10%. So
Yeah.
I think that Buffalo will be feeling pressure, but I also think they're pretty comfortable with this matchup in Arrowhead. What I'm intrigued to see, though, I love L'Jarius Sneed. He and Trent McDuffie are going to be very interesting matchups against that Bills offense, because we know right now the Bills have a more effective offense. Their receivers are a bit better than the Chiefs. However, those Chiefs cornerbacks might be a bit of a challenge for that Buffalo offense. So I'm interested to see who wins that contest.
Yeah. Your boy Razul Douglas might get a pick here, you
Oh, I
know?
hope so. I hope he gets 7. I voted for him in the Pro Bowl voting the other day. Put all my
Yeah.
votes on him. I love him. I'm very glad he is continuing to be effective and to play really well on my other team, my AFC team. So it's kind of nice to see. And also the guy who stepped up in his place in Green Bay has been having a great season too. Valentine has been playing really well. So Valentine, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, pronounce it Valentine. Um,
Win-win.
yeah, so I mean, I was real pissed when he left, and I was like, all right, never mind. Like he's still doing well, and our new boy's doing well, so no complaints there. But I really hope the Bills pull this one off. I just cannot pick the Chiefs and root for them over the Bills after last week's game against the Chiefs for Green Bay. There's no way in hell. So this is a bit of an emotional pick, so I'll be pretty pissed off if the Bills lose. But you guys can hear me go off on that if they lose. So
Yeah, I mean, I need to gain, games on you and get back into it, but I'm taking the Bills here too, and I believe they can win it. And I'm not super high on the Chiefs this year. I think this is the first year the Chiefs play a road playoff game. Mahomes has never had to play a road playoff game, and I think this is the year it happens. Coincidentally, it's the year Matt Nagy comes in and starts calling plays, whether he is or isn't. He's the offensive coordinator, and Eric Bieniemy is a big loss. So if you want to say Eric Bieniemy a big loss or Matt Nagy big downgrade, either way, that's a big reason. The receivers dropping the ball is another big reason. I don't have a lot of faith in this Chiefs team. The Bills backs against the wall. They need it. They're desperate. Give me Buffalo here. Josh Allen needs to play the game of his season. Feed Stephon Diggs. Uh, Feed Dalton Kincaid. Get James Cook going. Give me Buffalo in Arrowhead. I can't wait for this game. I'm gonna have my popcorn ready for this one.
Oh, good. I hope it's scrappy. So, speaking of scrappy matchups, another game I think is going to be quite scrappy this week. We've got the 6-6 Broncos at the 5-7 Chargers. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, this one's going to be interesting. We've seen that Denver's defense give up some huge plays in Houston. They tightened things up, gave Wilson a chance to come back in that one. Fucked it up at the end there, but we've seen them, try to come back after their defense really let the other team run over them. So I think the defense is gonna, have a bit of a talking to this week. I think that they're gonna come into this one wanting to not make the same mistakes. But I think the Chargers are feeling a little desperate. I know their division is, kind of cozy right now, but we love these interdivision matchups. How do you feel about this one?
Don't do it. I know you're tempted. Don't pick the LA Chargers.
Oh, I'm
They
not.
put
I
up
wrote Broncos with a question mark,
they,
but there's
they
a
put
question
up
mark, but I did write Broncos.
they put up 6 points
I
against New
know.
England. They've scored 10 points or less in 2 straight games. Um, I this Chargers team is not that good, not really any good. The Broncos, I believe in Denver. Their defense is going to bounce back. Russ is not going to throw 3 picks this week. The Broncos are going to win this one in LA. Um, and if the Chiefs lose and if the Broncos win, don't look now, but Denver will be just one game back in the AFC West. I mean, maybe Denver, if they went on a 5 game winning streak, they lost to Houston, but if Russell doesn't throw that pick at the end, he had him in position to win that game.
Yeah, but Houston is way more of a competitor than the Chargers.
What
I mean, right now
exactly?
the Chargers are on their best 2-game stretch of Brendan Staley's 3 years. They held the Ravens, who had been on a 30-game or 30-point per game streak of 5 games. They held them to 20 points. So that was a
Yeah.
win for them there. And then, shut the Patriots out. I don't know if I'm impressed by anyone shutting the Patriots out, but it was his first shutout. So, yay, I guess. But Russ, 3 interceptions last week. You cannot do that against the Chargers. Um,
No.
they
And
will make you regret that. I'm picking the Broncos here, but I do have some questions about them. My question mark was not referring to whether or not I wanted to pick the Broncos. Um, they need to tighten up on turnovers so badly, and their
mhm.
defense needs to play the first half of the game. You can't show up and just play a half of a game in week 14. You need to get it together, play all fucking 60 minutes, and do your job.
I agree. And as great as the Chargers defense has been playing better, and Khalil Mack two sacks in 3 straight games, leading the NFL in sacks. He's balling, trying to get to a career high. All he needs is one more sack or even a half to set a career high. So love to see Khalil Mack balling. But the Chargers offense is my issue, and Justin Herbert has not been getting it done. And I think Russ outplays Justin Herbert. I think that Russ doesn't turn the ball over 3 times. If you remember, Russ had been clean and not been turning the ball over during that 5 game winning streak. I think he gets back to that. I think Denver tightens back up. This is a big win. And this might be a close, hard fought game. This is your typical Brandon Staley throws the game away with a
Mhm.
turnover on downs or something stupid. Broncos win this one and pull within 1 game of the Chiefs if the Bills can win that one. So a big opportunity for Denver. I think they get it done in LA.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Something that's interesting is we've seen Sean Payton put Russ in um, some games where he does a lot more play action and games where he does less. I think in this situation, we've seen the Chargers surrender 300-yard passing games this season to Tua, to Kirk Cousins, to Mahomes, to Goff, to Jordan Love. I think Russ is going to go off in this game. I think he's going to, maybe hit that 300-yard passing mark too, especially after last week's really tough loss. The Broncos have not been historically good at the drop back pass situation this season.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not that concerned about the front crew on that LA defense. So I think maybe Russ has a little bit more time in this one to throw the ball than he did last week.
Yeah, and run the ball as well. Be balanced. And then, you can play action out of it. Get Khalil Mack worried about the run. So then you can play action out of it. Stuff like that. But most importantly, don't turn the ball over and you should be good to go. I think Herbert will turn the ball over. That Broncos defense is opportunistic. And
Oh, their slot corner, McMillian,
uh-huh.
he's been heating up lately too. I
Yeah.
wonder if they're gonna put him on Keenan Allen. That might be a great matchup.
Yeah, and on the other side, Asante Samuel Jr. versus Cortland Sutton is going to be a lot of fun to watch as
Oh
well.
yeah, I love Cortland Sutton. So I'm
Yeah.
always intrigued to see who they line up against him. But Asante might be a fun matchup there too. So
Yeah.
Denver should run away with this one. I will be very disappointed in them if they throw it away like they did last week. So hopefully we see a full 60 minutes of defense out of the Denver team because they should have won last week.
Yeah, it could even be sloppy, and the Denver defense does just enough, like a, 16-13 type of game.
Hmm.
But
A
I
win's a
think
win.
I think the Broncos do play better offensively.
Good.
So, but the game of the weekend, Sunday Night Football.
I was just about to say, so let's talk about the game of the week. You beat me to it. Yep. All right.
Eagles Cowboys,
Oof.
the rematch. That first game was so good. Remember the story coming out of that one was it's a game of inches, right? And Dallas played them so well in Philly. Cowboys did everything but the little tiny details to win that game. Like it was close, and Dak has been playing out of his mind now. Cowboys on a 4-game winning streak. They've won 6 out of the last 7. Dak 20 touchdowns and 2 picks in his last 6 games. And the Eagles are coming off a blowout loss and to the Niners. In Dallas, we talked to Hugh Jackson and he said this is a prove it game for the Cowboys. They need this win. And you can pull even with Philly in the division if you get this done. My question to you, Amanda, is can Dallas get it done? They're at home.
I mean, the Eagles had a buzzsaw last week. I mean, their pass defense was very concerning in that matchup against
Mhm.
the Niners. And I'm concerned about it again. I mean, they haven't really had time to make any adjustments.
Yeah.
And Dallas with the deep threat and Dak has been on fire, as you mentioned. I'm kind of concerned. I think the Cowboys can pull off a win here. Right now, Dallas is, 4 straight. They're perfect at home this season. So I think Dallas has enough firepower and willpower to pull off this win and kind of split the series.
Yeah, and we know that Jalen Hurts has been kind of playing through something injury wise, and I think Dak is red hot. So I think Dak outplays Jalen Hurts. Micah Parsons is my boy. He's going to be rushing the passer, getting after it. I agree. I think the Cowboys are red hot. There's no reason why they can't win this game. If they lose, it's going to be such a typical bad Cowboys loss. But the opportunity is right in front of them to pull even with Philly, send the Eagles on a losing streak, you know, and be on a 5-game winning streak. Everyone's going to be on the Cowboys nuts if you win this game. Just go out there and get it done. They could have won in Philly. You don't want to get swept by this Eagles team. It's a great opportunity. Go get it done, Dallas. I'm with you. I think the Cowboys win this.
Wow, I was surprised we agreed on this one. But like right now, I mean that Dallas offense is so strong and their defense has been really good too. I mean, Tony
Yeah.
Pollard, he's, not had a multi-touchdown game since the first week of the season, but he has found the end zone in each of the past 3 games. And we know that the Eagles team ranks 29th in red zone defense. And even during their hot streak in week 6, 7, 8, I had mentioned that that was my only concern for the team is that was something they needed to tighten up on or it would come back to bite them later. And they haven't fixed it. They dropped from the 25th ranked red zone defense to the 29th. So they clearly have not addressed that issue. And, as we saw last week, they don't really have much of an answer for offenses getting into the red zone. And I can see Dallas kind of taking advantage of that again, like the 49ers did last week. And do you know who has the tiebreaker in this one? Because if the Cowboys win this one, they'll both be sitting at 10-3.
Yeah, they'll both be sitting at 10-3.
Split the
Let me
series.
pull.
I wonder who has the tiebreaker there.
Pulling it up now.
Well, while you look that up, someone I'm excited to see here, Shaq Leonard now on the Eagles. I mean, first game there, he's, coming out. I wonder what he's going to be able to accomplish in that. He's new there, but we were kind of surprised when the Colts let him go. So I'm wondering if the Eagles will actually be able to utilize him. And it's his second week there, isn't it?
Who? Shaq Leonard.
Yeah.
First week.
Okay. I couldn't
Yeah, he
remember.
signed this week.
Okay.
And if the Cowboys win, then they're gonna have the division. It'll be 4-1 division record to the Eagles 3-1.
Okay.
So
So
it's very, very close.
yeah.
Um, you know, we'll see. I mean, still plenty of games left in the season to figure it out, but it's huge because you don't get swept by the Eagles. You pull even with the Eagles, who look like they were going to run away with the division, let alone the conference. And you send the Eagles on a losing streak, and then you're red hot yourself. And Dak Prescott's in the MVP conversation. Might be the favorite if you pull this off. So on Sunday Night Football, everyone's going to be watching. This is a huge opportunity in every facet, in every way imaginable. The Cowboys need to, play their best game of the year. It's an opportunity for a statement.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm pulling for Dallas to make that statement. I know there's been a lot of doubters, and I love what Dak has said in regards to people finally, giving him due credit for what he's done over the years.
Yeah,
I love how he just tunes everyone out and does his thing and, tries to improve himself year after year, week after week. So oddly enough, I am pulling for Dallas. So
and he's playing for a new contract too. And imagine if he can lead the Cowboys, stay this hot, win MVP, potentially win the division. The Cowboys are gonna have to break the bank for him money wise. So
yeah. So I guess, we'll both pick Dallas here, but let's move on to this Monday night doubleheader situation. We've got the first game, Titans 4-8 at the 9-3 Dolphins. Um, the Dolphins have been a very interesting ride this season.
yeah, yep.
So yeah, I mean, Henry's out in this game, so it would be a lot to ask of Tennessee to pull off a win here. Um, I mean, they haven't won a game on the road yet. And then meanwhile, Miami has yet to lose at home. So I can't see the Titans going in there and breaking their streak of losing on the road and Miami's streak of winning at home this season and being able to pull off a win there. Um, yeah, I don't know. How do you feel about this one?
Um, Regardless of if Derrick Henry plays or Ryan Tannehill or Marcus Mariota or whoever, Warren Moon, I don't care who it is.
Yo,
Uh,
if Warren Moon plays, I'm switching my pick.
the Dolphins are taking this one. The Titans don't have a very good secondary, and you got a rookie quarterback in Will Levis going up against Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey. The Dolphins don't need to put up 70 or even 50 or 40 to win this game. 30 should be plenty. Dolphins should win this one easily. The Titans are not a very good team this year. They're 4-8. You know, um, easy Dolphins win in my opinion.
Yeah, I wish I could say I was hoping this would be scrappy, but I'll be turning into the other Monday night game. But someone to watch in this game, Raheem Mostert, who I have loved for a while since he was back on the Niners. 16 touchdowns so far this season. He's tied for the third most in Dolphins history. And then Devin Achane, he's
Yeah,
back in. He's got 9 touchdowns in 6 games that he's played. He could become only the 5th player since 1932 with 10 plus in their first 7 games. Um, and you and
wow.
I liked him at the beginning of the season when he first came in. I mean, we were so disappointed when he went on IR. So I am really excited for him. I think he is an amazing breakout player. So yeah, definitely cannot pick against that Dolphins offense. And I don't even think their defense needs to do much in this one to help out.
Yeah, and that's the issue is their defense is coming on at the right time too. So
Yeah.
I know they
I don't
have
know
it.
if they need to be on for this one though. They could just take a day off.
Yeah, and they need to keep stockpiling wins, get that home field. They're right now they're the number one seed in the AFC. So take care of business, keep winning. But the ultimate test is going to come later and see what they can do in the playoffs. We know their record against good teams, you know, so that's going to be the test. But the Titans are not really a test. Take care of business, get to 10-3.
Yeah. All right, so can we talk about my Packers now? I know it's not quite the fun matchup where we picked the Packers over the Chiefs last week. 6-6 Packers sitting at 500 quite comfortably, nice and warm. At the 4-8 Giants. As you have said, the Packers are red hot right now. Love has had an amazing 3-game stretch. I am not really concerned about the Giants. They're 0-4 in primetime games this season. They've been outscored 108-24 in those games. They do not like the spotlight. And the Packers, just pulled off a great primetime win. I am all in on the Packers in this one.
Well, you're not taking Tommy DeVito?
No, I'm not. Sorry.
Yeah, Packers come in on a 3-game winning streak. They've won 4 of the last 5. Jordan Love playing with so much confidence, 8 touchdowns, no turnovers in his last 3. But the Packers injury list is something to keep an eye on.
Oh my
Christian
God.
Watson is out.
It's been
Quay
something to keep an eye on
Walker,
all season. I'm so
yeah, Quay
over it.
Walker doubtful. Jair Alexander and Aaron Jones questionable. But even despite all that, and the Giants are red hot on a 2-game winning streak. Uh-oh.
They've lost 8 straight Monday Night Football games. The Giants on Monday night are like the Lions on Thanksgiving.
Can they sign Eli Manning for a 1-day contract?
No,
Come
Eli.
on now. Yeah, Packers should win this. Get to a 4-game winning streak, and if my Bears were anything, I would be worried about Green Bay being hot right now. But my Bears aren't. They're not a threat. But the Lions do need to be worried about Green Bay. If Green Bay gets on a 5-game winning streak, the Lions are going to start coming back down to earth. Or 4-game winning streak. Still,
Yeah, this would be 4.
if the
Uh,
Lions, this is what I'm saying. If the Lions lose to the Bears, which is possible, and
eh,
the Packers win this and get on a 4-game winning streak, I'm just saying, keep an eye on this.
okay, but here's the thing though. The Packers schedule is Giants at home versus the Bucks, Carolina, Minnesota at home versus the Bears. Regardless of what happens, I do think we have a very soft schedule.
Yeah.
Whatever postseason first week matchup we could get into, I feel like we're gonna get slaughtered. Like we are not like the Chiefs were our hardest contender.
Well, it depends. Are you playing in Lambeau or are you on the road? That's a big question.
I mean, it's cute. Like, yeah, it'll be adorable. I will give them a gold star if they make the postseason this year. And our youngest team in the NFL, that'll be adorable. I have no Super Bowl hopes, even if they make the postseason.
Well, no
So
Super Bowl hopes, no, but a playoff win, sure. I mean,
yeah.
you're 6-6 at the
Okay.
Giants. Take care of business, get to 7-6 versus the Bucks in Green Bay. You can win that.
Okay,
Eight
but
and six.
listen, but you just said a playoff win we could get, a postseason win, but no Super Bowl hopes. I'm a Packers fan. It's Super Bowl or bust every fucking year. I don't give a shit about postseason wins. Like, unless you're gonna go to the Super Bowl and win, just don't even make the postseason, okay? Like, let me, save my gray hairs and my blood pressure.
Well, hey, I would be ecstatic for a playoff win right now. So count your blessings over there.
I know, we're
Two
spoiled.
said.
I mean, for the Packers,
Um,
it's, NFC championship and then lose pretty much
look,
every year for,
look,
the last decade.
negative Nancy over here. If you're on a 3-game winning streak now, you beat the Giants, the Bucks is winnable, the Panthers is winnable. At Minnesota, on paper, sure, but if Dobbs throws 4 picks, you could go into the playoffs on a, let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8-game winning streak. I
No, I
mean,
know that. I'm
and you get
saying that.
Aaron Jones
I'm
healthy, Christian Watson, Jair Alexander.
They're
I'm
never
just
healthy.
saying,
No one on that team is healthy ever.
what do we always say? It's not the best team in the playoffs. It's who's playing the best football. You
Yeah.
take a winning streak in there. I mean, I know Jordan Love's not winning Super Bowl MVP. I know, but imagine if you go to the
I'd
NFC
be
Championship game this year with this roster. Come on.
play an actual opponent in the postseason and just get murked. That's what
I
I'm afraid.
mean, I mean, let's be real. You've had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers and gotten into the playoffs and got murked. So, I mean, it doesn't really
Yeah,
matter.
I know that's my point. No, we like to make it to the NFC Championship game and then lose in overtime. That's the Packers way. Um,
Well,
However, I know you talked a little bit of shit about Tommy DeVito. I do just want to mention, give him some accolades real quick. I know this is a little off topic now. Um, he has 7 touchdown passes and 3 interceptions this season. All other Giants passers combined have 4 touchdowns and 6 picks. So, he is quite elite for New York this year compared to their other options. So a little bit of credit is due.
and I love it. I love his role that he plays in It's Always Sunny too. He's a great actor. Uh, Keep it up, Tommy DeVito.
You gotta stop.
No, I mean, I'm not gonna watch a second of Titans Dolphins. I'll be
Yeah.
watching the Giants Packers though. Um, just to see what happens. So
Yeah, I think Romeo Dobbs and Jaden Reed are gonna have another great week. I'm excited to see them with or without Christian Watson. I love the kid. He is phenomenal. And I know he has been talking to a lot of getting second and third opinions about how to help with these hamstring issues because he just the way his body is built or something, he consistently has tight hammies and it's a consistent issue. But he's been talking to doctors about very specific back exercises and glute exercises he can do to kind of like overcompensate for his sensitive hamstring. So he's doing everything he can. But Green Bay fans this season have learned not to pay attention to the injury report because it is horrifically long every single week. So we just don't talk about injuries anymore and just hope whoever's on the field can do their thing. So
yeah, and I mean, if week 5 Amanda could hear you call Christian Watson phenomenal, she would pass out.
okay, I was just a little mad at him. He's a great player. He's young though. As I've said all
Yeah.
season, I had no expectations. I do think he can grow into something. I think we should get Jake Kumaro back and let him play too. But it was fun to see a fullback on the field last week too. So
No, you're right. I mean, as good as the story this is for Green Bay, and it could get even better before the season's over. How far are you going to go, right? And if you make the playoffs, that's awesome. If you win the division, which is unlikely, but you never know, then even better. But you know how the Packers take it to the next step? You want to bring Jake Kumaro back, bring Devontae Adams back this offseason.
oh yeah, I know, dude. I would don't tempt me. Ugh, don't get me going on that one. Yeah, that's the dream right there.
But I'm
And
going to
we
stop giving
bring Rasul
Packers.
Douglas back too. I mean,
Yeah.
saying too many nice things about the Packers. We've been talking too long. Y'all, thanks for listening to us Babylon. I would just like to say if the Packers want to spite me and go on to win the Super Bowl this season just because I said they would lose in the first round of the playoffs, that would be great. I will definitely take your spite Super Bowl win.
Uh, the Bears are going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Okay, yeah. Bears or Carolina, one of the two.
Well, appreciate the support, everyone. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Great shit as always. We bring it every week. We know football on this podcast, so listen to us instead of those talking heads at ESPN.
Who
Check
think
out
they
the
should be
huge,
paid more? Stephen
exactly, or get paid at all, right? Something.
A. Good thought.
Uh, we had Hugh Jackson on this week. We got a little inside information we might be dropping on that front as well here soon. Check us out. We're gonna have some big interviews coming up here. The rest of the season, and the playoffs are gonna be lit. So if you're listening, check us out. Follow along. Good shit as always, Amanda, and we'll keep the content coming every week. Peace out, guys.